call the roll.
Mr. Majors. Mr. Cockrell.
Yes.
Miss Roulette.
Yes.
Mr. Denton.
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes. Next item will be the statement by the Board Vice President, Mr. Jerry Denton.
As we begin this meeting, let us pause for a 60-second moment of silence to reflect, meditate, pray, or engage in other silent activity. Thank you.
Next item will be the Pledge of Allegiance led by the Board Clerk, Ms. Brandy Roulette.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we take any action, I need to make note to the public that we do have 4 speakers that will be speaking this evening. Mr. Rod Stauffer, I believe, and Cindy Ott, Jane York, and Angela Leiter. Each of you, if you're speaking to a agenda item, you will have 5 minutes. If you're speaking to a non-agenda item, you'll have 3 minutes. So just gotta let the public know that. Next item will be discussion and approval of the April 12th board meeting minutes. Any discussion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell.
Yes.
Miss Roulette.
Yes.
Mr. Denton.
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes, and I probably need to join the meeting, don't I?
My bad.
Give me 1 second here. Okay. Next item, summary and awards. Dr. Vinson.
Yes, thank you, President Allen. There is nothing that makes me more happy than to look around this room and see all of these students here. This is why we do what we do. Most of us who go into education, we go into education because we want to work with students. And so that's a great transition on what we're doing tonight. Tonight, our board meeting represents, for us, the end of the school year, because we now only have 13 school days left. And I think that needs applause. This is a reason for celebration. This has been quite a year. But in this meeting, we are choosing to celebrate our students and what Broken Arrow Public Schools family were able to accomplish in spite of our limitations. Our students showed grit, resilience, and just a doggedness to do really great things in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. No problem there. Our staff showed selflessness in making sure our students' experience in our schools was in person when at all possible, and to keep that student experience as our #1 priority, always. Yes, we had interruptions when cases escalated, but thanks to the dedication of our 2,700 plus employees and our Board of Education, we have a list of activities to show you this evening. It's really shocking. We put this together and it shocked me. But we have a list of activities that provided a sample of what we were able to accomplish. Look at all these, folks. I mean, gym night, boot scoot, prom, aloha bash, all of these great things that's how we build this incredible culture that we have here. Move on to athletics. Wow, have they just knocked it out of the park this year. We've got our cheer here today, and they are both a state and national champion. And then we've got our Tigets, who are the kick state champions. First in school history, that's something to celebrate. Our cross country was the only school in Oklahoma to finish top 5 in both boys and girls at the state meet. You know, football, we hosted a little television station called ESPN this year. And then our softball, state semifinalists, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. We've got 2 pages of athletics. Our girls wrestling, I have to mention, first state champion in the history of the state. And we had 3 young ladies win, Allison Hines, Kaisha, Kathy, and Olivia Brown. Olivia Brown was also named by VIPE as Miss Wrestling Oklahoma. Pretty phenomenal. But it goes on and on. Our girls and boys track, they're getting ready to go to state. They're phenomenal. Our boys soccer are getting ready to compete for semifinals. Is that right? I always get it confused. Quarterfinals, semifinals. And then 41 athletes in the class of 2021 so far have signed scholarships to continue at the next level. Construction, we did not slow down a bit. We have just about finished with our Vanguard STEM Academy. It's going to be phenomenal. Please come out and look at it when we get it opened up. We are doing tours with our legislators and local officials. I see Mayor Wimpy over there. Hopefully she'll be able to make it and do the tour. We were able to complete our baseball remodel. All the projects that we have on our bond issue that we promised to the voters when they passed the 2015 bond issue, we are on track. We've got every single one of them in works. Fine arts, you know, our fine arts, I often argue, I think that our fine arts are probably better than any school in the entire nation. And they continued to wow this year, even in a year where it was very hard to compete. Our marching band probably did more than any marching band in the entire nation as far as preparing a show and then using it. And they got to do some pretty phenomenal things in our community. Our one act, our drama did 4 live productions. It goes on and on, show choir. And then we get to instruction. Folks, these people are the unsung heroes too, because they literally turned on a dime and provided an online education, a virtual education to students in ways that we'd never done it before. K through 8, we'd never done that. We'd done a little bit in middle school, but not the elementary at all. So not only did they build it, but they made it work. Yes, it's still a work in progress, but where we are now, I'm telling you what, we can compete against anyone, including that other school. And I understand they provide a service. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that we can compete, and we're going to beat them. So our instructional team, they provided so much training to our teachers because it was scary coming back. When we first came back, we didn't know what we were walking into. No one knew. But it was more important for them to teach their kids and be with their kids than anything. And it still chokes me up when I talk about that because everyone was afraid. But a lot of our business community is still shut down in our nation, yet our teachers come to school every single day and teach our kids. That's phenomenal. We were able to do ACT and SAT testing. I mean, are you kidding me? No one else was able to do that. Mock trial competed. I mean, it's phenomenal, some of the things that are on this list. So I kind of summarize that by saying, you know, this is just a sampling list, but it all leads to what's the icing on the cake. Next week, we're going to graduate over 1,300 Broken Arrow Tigers. That's the largest class in the history of Broken Arrow schools. That's something to celebrate. So thank you for giving me this opportunity. I want to thank our staff, our parents, our community, and thank you most of all to our Board of Education. These were tough times, and you stuck to us every step of the way and supported our kids and our teachers. Thank you to our volunteers. I know we've got some PTA folks back here. You supported us. If anyone didn't see our Teacher of the Year celebrations last week, they just up the game every year and make it to where our teachers feel so loved. It's phenomenal. So thank you to all of you who've served so graciously through this challenging time, and you all are the ones that have allowed this to happen. And we are so thankful for our students because you all are so phenomenal. We hear it every time we go anywhere. You guys have the best kids because we do. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to do that.
Dr. Vincent, I just want to express the board's thank you as well. These Summer Achievement Awards are great. We don't have too many of them typically in the last board meeting of the year, but because of your excellence, we get to have this. So thank you all for allowing us to do this. But it's been a tough year. It's been a confusing year. I've been on the board 12 years. It's been the most mentally challenging year, emotionally. And but I just want to thank Dr. Vince and your leadership, our board, for sticking with the plan. I want to thank our parents for believing in our district and our staff to do everything they do. Listen, we're human. We don't get it right all the time, but I know that we'll work very hard to make corrections and make sure we do get it right. But I want to thank all of our parents. You know, we were very thankful as a board that we were able to send these students to Florida for a chance to compete. There was nothing more than we wanted was to allow you all to have the opportunity that the students before you did not get to have in the last year. But I want to thank you, parents. It's not always easy, but thank you for trusting us as a board and the district. And thank you, students, most of all. You guys have had the craziest year ever in the history of education, and you've conquered the mountain. So I just want to thank you all. Again, I know it hasn't been easy, but I'm willing to bet, though, if this is the toughest thing you deal with in life, you're going to be okay as you move forward. So, but thank you all, and appreciate each and every one of you, each and every parent, each and every difference of opinion. We appreciate that. We may not always agree, but we will always do what's best. So thank you all, and we greatly appreciate everyone's support. And now it's time to celebrate all of you all. So.
Yeah. Awesome.
So next item will be number 5, and Ms. James? Oh,
Ms. Peterson.
You're like a ninja.
I am. I am. So, good evening, President Allen, Dr. Vincent, and members of the board. I'm so excited to be here tonight to present 4 elementary sites, and their principals are here hiding back there behind our students that we're soon to recognize. If you recall, at the beginning of this year, I believe we recognized 6 elementaries for Champions of Excellence. And so throughout this year, we have 4 more sites that have come on board that they are ready for us to send their artifacts to the state. And so if I'll just really briefly, the process is there's a rubric that they have to follow. It's not easy. It's pretty involved. Each of these sites have got committees together of teachers so that they can make sure that they're fulfilling every piece of that rubric. And then they submit that rubric to the instructional team, and the instructional team then vets it before we present it to you all. I'm excited because you'll probably end up seeing either Ms. James or I at several of the next board meetings, because we have about 8 to 10 more to present to you. It's just that it takes quite a while for us to go through them. And like anything, we do not want to submit anything to the state until we are very clear that it is the best product. So tonight, I have 4 elementary sites. First is Spring Creek with Samantha Troutman. Samantha, if you'll just stand up. They are presenting for ELA, or English Language Arts Bronze. Wolf Creek and Stacy Strow is back there. They are also going for bronze in English Language Arts. And then Creekwood is our first site, and we have Rachel Kaiser and Kim Archer. They are going for gold, and when we looked through theirs, oh my gosh, it could be a model for the state. It is so good. It's amazing. And then Rosewood with Mr. Nate Hutchings, I have to give him kudos opening up an elementary, and then they are submitting for silver, and they are probably like 2 artifacts away from gold. So they are so close. So pretty big accomplishment. So tonight we just need your approval before we send it on.
Quick question, Ms. Peterson. So this Champions of Excellence, what's the purpose at the State Department?
So it's going to give us a distinction, and so when on our report card, so whenever a parent or anybody from the community wants to look at our site or our site report card, it will have basically a Champions of Excellence Distinguished, or like a mark on there to show that these schools are bronze, silver, or gold. And what's exciting is we were part of the pilot, so we're going to be one of the first districts to actually have schools that have these areas of distinction.
So having been at the State Department when we devised this whole system, one of the other intents is actually for parents, so that if you have a student who's very talented in an area, you can look at your elementary and say, is this the best site in our district to serve? Because it may be one of our other sites in which you can attend that elementary. But it's really supposed to be a guide for parents, so they know what their elementary is doing and where they excel.
Right.
So thank you.
Ms. Peterson, I'm glad you had a gold one there because Mr. Cockrell might have got upset. So
We will have more gold next year, I promise.
he wants the gold, so. Any questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Miss Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. I saw you twitching down there, John. Next item, Ms. Bergwall.
Good evening. Well, Kenny, we're in kind of a tough spot. I think everybody's more anxious to hear about what's going on with the kids than with us, the sports side of the house. But we are here tonight to present to you a national award that the City of BA and Broken Arrow Public Schools has won for our Together project. We are the recipient of the Water Environment Federation Public Community and Outreach Program Award. And with me tonight is Assistant City Manager Kenny Schwab to discuss that with us. And
We
Mayor.
have the
We
mayor.
have the
Deborah
mayor here
Ruby.
too. How
So-
nice is
All
that?
right.
All right.
President Allen, board members, Dr. Vincent, I actually thought the cheerleaders and the Tigettes were here for me. I'm a little shocked, but I actually thought the bar, I've been presenting for 25 years, and you set the bar so high tonight. Honestly, this is an honor on behalf of Mayor Wimpy, the City Council, and Michael Spurgeon, our City Manager. I want to honor the school board and the school administration, as Michelle Bergwall said, with a national award. On October the 7th of 2020, the City of Broken Arrow and the Broken Arrow Public Schools received the national award for the public outreach and communication from WEF. WEF, abbreviation for Water Environment Federation. WEF is a foundation of 35,000 individuals throughout the world, so it may be an international award. I just went one more level. There's 35,000 individuals that make up WEF, mainly in the United States and in Canada, 75 affiliate memberships. Their purpose is all things water. It really is. Their purpose is to bring professionals together so that they can enrich, educate one another, and learn about the environment and how to better serve the public. Let me just read a little bit about WEF. Like I said, it is a global water sector leader. WEF's mission is to connect water professionals, enrich the expertise of water professionals, increase the awareness of impact and value of water, and provide a platform for the water sector innovation. Its global network of members and member associations provide water quality professionals around the world with the latest in water quality education, in training, and business opportunities. Their diverse membership includes scientists, engineers, regulators, educators, utility managers, plant operators, and other professionals. I can't think of a better way for the Broken Arrow Public Schools to open their STEM Academy next year as a national award winner in a STEM function. Lastly, I would like to thank, I've already thanked the City Council and the City Manager for their vision and their leadership. I want to thank the school board and the administration for your backing something that was innovative, something that was outside of the box. Where else does a school and a city come together to educate their children and actually their public? But most of all, I want to thank the students that were involved in this. They let us work with them. They became a part of it. They solved real world problems in real time. It was probably more beneficial for me and my staff than anybody else. But honestly, the students are the national award for our community. So with that, I would like to give you this honor.
Dr. Vincent, will you get a picture taken? Get the picture taken up there. Please. You're right there by the BA. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, now the fun stuff. Funner, is that a word? Funner? Ms. Snyder.
Hello, everyone. Dr. Vincent, President Allen, members of the board, thank you so much for allowing me to be here tonight to recognize 2 exceptional teams. I don't want to go on without saying thank you to each and every one of you for believing in us, for believing in our coaches. This was a very difficult year, as you mentioned, and throughout the year, we had the backing of our school board, the backing of our leadership team, and we never felt for one moment that we weren't making the right decision. There was times where I was worried, but I knew that if there was a way to do it safely, that you all believed in us, then why wouldn't we? So thank you for the opportunity, because without you all, we wouldn't be here today to recognize these 2 amazing teams. I'd like to bring up first the head coach of the TIGET program, Megan Warren. I just want to brag on Coach Warren. She has been an incredible coach this year for these young ladies that I also had a chance to work with this year, and they have had so many ups and downs. There was a time where we didn't know if they were going to get to compete at state because there were so many quarantined, and there wasn't one time that Coach Warren said, I guess we should just give up, or maybe this isn't our year. She was fighting through it, and I know her team appreciates that they never gave up. And if they had to move the formations around, it was going to happen. And a lot of you may not know, but for a palm routine or a kick routine, you learn it in June, sometimes May, sometimes June, and then you work on it for 7 to 9 months, and then you compete for 2 minutes, and that's all you get. And so I am so proud of this team. First of all, they won their first ever state championship in the kick category in the 6A division at the Oklahoma State Dance Team Directors Association State Championship in December. Couldn't be more proud, just as an AD, but also they make me proud academically. Want to really quickly talk about that. They have an unweighted team GPA of 3.72. 7 members on this team right here have a 4.0. And 16 out of 18 members are in AP courses. So that makes me very proud. Coach Warren, congratulations on your first ever TIGET state championship. I'm so proud of you. Parents that are here for your children, thank you for supporting everybody, our coaches, supporting us, that you believed in us and trusted us with your children. We couldn't thank you more than ever, and we want to go ahead and let Coach Warren bring her team up here, get a picture with the board, and talk about her staff and anything else you'd like to talk about.
Let's have Coach Warren talk first.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Switch me spots.
I just wanted to say thank you so much to you all for, giving us this opportunity this year. It means the world to me and to these kids. I know most people, they talk about 2020 and what a crazy year it was, but for us, it's been just an amazing experience getting to go through this with these kids. And they've showed perseverance and dedication in times when it was hard to find that positive, and they did it. They were amazing and bright, shining stars the entire time. And so thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to have a season and to compete, and entrusting us to take them to Florida, because we had our best trip at Nationals as well. We placed 4th and 2nd, and also some of our best placements at Nationals. So thank you for this season. We can't thank you enough.
You want to announce each student? I think they need to be recognized. So you want to announce them, just have them come across here and then do the picture?
Absolutely. Let's start with our seniors. Miss Vanessa Barnett and Ashton Lowe.
Congratulations, ladies.
Then we have Miss Briley Turnham, Miss Caitlin Elliott, Maya Holden, Ashley Troll, Amira Eid, Rachel Tolton, Danny Davis, Heidi Clough, JC Cook, Avery Krieg, Riley McDaniel, Courtney Francisco, and me. Sorry, you guys were walking really fast. Trying to spell them all out. Congratulations, girls. You guys have had a wonderful season.
They wanted a picture with the board. Yeah, let's get a picture with the board.
So who's the juniors? Who's the juniors? We expect to see y'all here next year?
Got to keep the tradition.
Great job.
Can I go ahead and talk
Great
about
job. Thank you.
Or do I wait?
Whenever you're ready, Ms. Snyder.
It is now with great pleasure that I brag on Coach Kirsten Blood Delahanty. I will always call you Coach Blood, so come on up here. I was also very blessed to have been approved to travel to nationals a couple weeks ago with the varsity cheer program. And from the minute I arrived, it was organized, it was seamless. The athletes were focused, so positive and respectful. Parents welcoming, helpful, what can I do? And I just, I was blown away. I just felt like, was like, why am I even here? They don't need me. But I was so glad that I got to be there to experience the winning of a national title. And I just want to thank you all again, because without you all, many teams in this local area weren't able to travel, and we were. And so we came back with a national title in the medium co-ed game day division and a runner-up in the medium co-ed performance division, which is very incredibly hard to obtain. This is the most prestigious cheer competition you could go to in the United States. And I want to tell you all, to Kirsten, thank you for all year being a coach that we could count on, that did things the right way and kept our kids safe. Thank you to your staff. Athletes, you guys pushed through some really difficult times, and I'm so proud of you all. Congratulations on this national title. We couldn't be more proud of you. Thank you, Chuck Perry, for believing in us, for looking at our plan and seeing that it was going to be safe. Leadership team, you all as well. Thank you guys so much. This is just an incredible opportunity that you gave our kids, and that's all I have to say. So I'll let Coach Kirsten Delahanty speak.
I just wanted to thank the board also for allowing us to go this year. It was such a bright spot in a crazy year, and these kids worked so hard to be able to go. They did everything right so that we were able to go. They were completely committed to going. So I just want to thank y'all so much for allowing us to go. I want to thank our athletic department for believing in us and believing that we could do this safely. We have 33 kids. That's a lot of kids to get to Florida in a normal year. So even on a COVID year, we were very, very blessed that you allowed us to go. I also want to thank my kids for just being so incredible to coach. They were the best team I ever could have asked for this year. We are going to miss our seniors so much. They have been the best group of seniors. And we are so excited for the future of Broken Arrow Cheer with who we have returning next year also. And thank you to our parents, because if you didn't let us have your kids the majority of the time, I wouldn't be able to do my job. So thanks for sharing them with us. All right.
Coach, I got a question for you.
Yes.
So I'm assuming, is it like an accumulative scoring system to where after each routine or something? Is that how that works?
So we were entered in 2 different divisions. So our game day division is more kind of what you see on the sidelines every Friday night. So it's our fight song, a band dance, and a cheer. And then our performance division is more of that competitive cheer, like the harder stunts, tumbling, stuff like that. So we actually came in second in the performance division, which is the highest that Broken Arrow's ever placed. And then we came in first in the game day division.
I saw some of the videos, y'all are like flawless, I guess, in the last one, no marks or something. That's pretty amazing.
It was a very good experience. So starting with our seniors, we have Evie Turner. She was actually our captain this year. Joel Jones,
Congratulations.
Kirsten Green, Riley Grunhoff,
Congratulations.
Peyton Seagraves, Ellie Darnell,
Congratulations.
Brooke Martin,
Great job.
Keon Barnett,
Great job.
Sanchez Banks,
Congratulations.
and Garrett Hinesley wraps up our seniors.
Great job.
I do want to mention our 3 guys back here. They also play football for Broken Arrow, and they did double sports this year and came over and did cheer after their football season was over. And then the rest of our team, we have Bradley Warwick, Reese Fulmar, Lily Coonsey,
Congratulations.
Hannah Stanley, Desiree Brown, Isaac Jones, Finley Wimpy, Chloe Young, Cami Murray, Sebastian Drake, Trey Wilcher, and Lexi Horvath. And my 2 assistant coaches are Taylor Gee Moose and Kayla Reether Parker. We all got married recently.
Big rings. Hey, thank you. You're not going anywhere. Congratulations to you all. Great job. Thank you, Ms.
Nice
Snyder.
job. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That's awesome.
All right, next item, Ms. Barber.
Well, good evening, Dr. Vinson, President Allen, members of the board. It's been a great evening this evening,
It
just
has.
celebrating all
It's
these
amazing.
kids. Actually, I texted Brady's mom because I couldn't see him because he was behind all of the other celebrations. So I said, is he going to be able to come tonight so we can celebrate him? And so what I love about this young man, let me just say this, his academic achievement is amazing. But when you get to know Brady, his heart is even more amazing. So I'm just so glad to celebrate him tonight. We celebrated him in the fall for being the National Merit semifinalist, one of the 6, and then again in the spring for being a National Merit finalist. We have the very distinct honor of celebrating him this evening for being one of only 9 Oklahoma Presidential Scholar Award semifinalists, which is a very, very prestigious honor. So I know you all might have some questions for him tonight. I have one, if I may ask. Brady, how are you handling all of this success? You've had quite a bit this year. Tell us how you navigate that.
I don't know about success. It just really, it's something that I feel like I've been prepared for through my teachers and through all the people that have poured into me over these years. And it's all kind of coming to fruition now, which is really cool. But again, I keep doing exactly what my teachers have taught me all these years, and now I'm finally getting a little bit of recognition for it. But it's the same thing that's been happening all these years and with all these other students. Sometimes I'm not so big of a fan on some of these awards just because I know that all those other students have worked so hard and they've shown greatness in other areas, and maybe mine is a little bit more socially, popular. But there's so many other students that do the same thing, and they're amazing in other areas. Mine just happens to be test taking, which the U.S. Department of Education is a big fan of. So.
Humility is such a great character.
Yeah, that's right.
You know.
Well, I was going to say Brady is one of the members of our superintendent advisory group. And, you know, when you have 1,300 seniors, it's hard for a lone student to stand out. But this young man has stood out from day one, and it's exactly what you're hearing. It's that he's humble, he's brilliant, but he's also wise beyond his years. And so that's what made me take notice. I mean, he's taught me things this year. I'm like, thank you for teaching me, Brady. He's one of those products that we are just so proud of, and we're excited to see where you go next. And you have to come back and tell us.
Brady, I have a question for you, and congratulations. I mean, what an honor.
Thank you very much.
We're proud of you. You're making us, our district, very good. Kind of $1 million question for a person that's having so much success. What's the pandemic been for you, like obstacles, maybe what you felt was an obstacle, maybe what was a blessing? You know, what has it meant to you?
I think at the very start of it, most of the frustration came from not being able to see people. I love being around people. I love being at the high school. Standing in the center of campus, we call it, like, the heart of it is the student union at the high school. And if you've ever been in there, it's always lively. There's always groups of people in there. And missing that, not being to be there with my fellow classmates, was difficult. Going through the last of senior year, there's a little bit of a blessing in there because I was not getting an A in Calculus BC. If I didn't have that, if they didn't freeze those grades, I was going to be in trouble. But there's a tiny blessing in there. But having my family, being able to spend some quality time with them, especially knowing that this year, you know, I'm going off to college, that was really nice, and there was a blessing in that. And so I think through all of it that there is some sort of blessing. At first I didn't see it. There were days that it was a lot more difficult than others. I remember I spent 10 days quarantining in my upstairs, barely seeing my family because I had contracted COVID. And so there were definitely frustrating days, but through all of it I think it's been a blessing, and there's been some bright spots that I've been able to work through. So
Thank you. Congratulations to your parents as well.
Yeah.
Brady,
Great job.
what are your
Great
plans from
job.
here? Have you decided?
yes, I am planning officially academic signing day tomorrow. I'll, I guess, officially announce it, but I'm already committed to the University of Alabama. I'm going to go down there, major in psychology with a pre-law focus, and then hopefully go to law school there, and then seminary right after that. It's going to be a lot of school. But eventually I want to open my own law firm with a focus on representing those who maybe didn't get adequate representation at first, and so their appeal, while also pouring into them and sharing Christ with them.
Could you also represent school districts too?
Exactly.
Just a suggestion.
Can you introduce your guests that are here with you tonight, please?
Right back there, my brother in all black. He's a stud on the drums. He's got a concert actually tonight over here,
awesome.
a jazz concert. He's a stud. My dad right there, he's basically taught me most of the things I know. He's definitely been someone that I've looked up to and always poured into me. Always been a big role model for me. And my mom sitting right there, she's a nurse. She has been the example for how to love others and how to just pour into others in every possible capacity. And so she's definitely been a role model for me, and I look up to her in that. And then also my twin sister, who's not able to make it tonight. She's been one of my closest friends and kind of my built-in best friend over the years. And so I'm very thankful for her too.
Wow. Thank you for sharing.
Brady, you just made me look up to you a lot by the way you just spoke about your parents. My gosh,
Telling you.
wonderful.
Yeah.
But congratulations to you all. It's a team effort, I'm sure. So we won't hold it tight against you, but that's okay. Congratulations.
It's still a little weird coming out of my mouth. Yeah. Doesn't quite sound right.
Just make sure you move back to Broken Arrow because we could use
Absolutely.
you. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You want to get a picture,
Yeah,
Dr.
let's
Vincent,
do it.
with Brady? You want to get the family in the picture as well, because it's obvious that they are very important. Mom, Dad, you guys want to get in the picture as well, and brother?
Oh my gosh, gave me chills.
Congratulations. Congratulations to you all.
I've been trying to tie my shoes.
Thank you, Brady. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs much luck.
No, he does not need luck.
Nor
Okay.
does brother.
Next item will be comments from the public. Just a reminder, you will have 3 minutes if it's a non-agenda item, and 5 minutes if you're speaking to an agenda item. Ms. Hill, will you have the clock up?
Yes, I'll use my phone.
Okay. You won't have it on the monitor so they can see it?
I'll try.
Okay.
Give me just a second.
We sometimes have technical difficulties, but we'll
Yes.
try to put it on a screen. We'll just stop you at 3 minutes or 5 minutes to what you're speaking to. I don't believe there's any agenda items, so they'll all be 3 minutes. So please keep it to 3 minutes. We will just have to stop you at the 3-minute time, so.
Hang on just a minute.
Okay. Is it Stauffer? Mr. Stauffer, you can come up here, and when she gets the clock ready, we'll get going. And if we don't have the clock, we may just have to do it the old-fashioned way. Okay.
Glad I got to see such amazing young people
Hold
tonight.
on for 1 second.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get a clock for you, so you have 3 minutes.
Can I do this?
Yep, sure.
It's been a while since I've done it.
You ready?
No.
Okay, let's just do a timer, and we'll just tell you when you have 30 seconds remaining, okay?
You ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So my name is Rod Stauffer. I've taught at the Options Academy for 6 years. In the current technological age, students have access to an unfiltered internet connection on their phones. They can watch movies of any rating, participate in cyberbullying, arrange meetings in the bathrooms with other students from other classes, all while sitting in my or any other teacher's classroom. For the sake of classroom management, student protection, as well as student engagement, the use of personal cellular devices by students must be addressed with clear, concise, fair disciplinary actions or some other system of control. Is there a district policy on student use of personal electronic communication devices in the classroom during instruction? Is there a clear procedure on steps to prevent classroom disruption, student distraction, and promote student engagement due to the use of these devices in the classroom by students? Can such a procedure be codified for a middle and high school students in the district? This problem is not going to go away. In fact, it's getting worse. We owe it to our students and to the parents who entrust us with the education of their children to have a clearly communicated plan on how to handle this growing problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Stauffer. Next speaker we'll have will be Miss Cindy Ott. Janet, I'll hand these to you, and that way if you need to make
Got it.
comments or anything,
I'm just making notes, so.
you can just have those and make notes on them if you like.
Okay, this is not me. I am not a speaker. I am a retired nurse, and I practice behind the scenes. However, I have a heart for scientific information that would be going forward as far as the masking with our children. I worked critical care, I worked with adults, and I worked with children. And there is such a thing as hypercapnia. That means that your CO2 level is elevated. And we treated based on those numbers. When we breathe in oxygen. When we breathe out CO2. Anything that hampers the breathing out of CO2 can affect those levels in our bloodstream. Those things can be dizziness, headaches, fatigue, disorientation, flushing of the skin, hot, clammy feeling, weak in the knees because I'm breathing really too fast. Different signs, depression, irregular heartbeat, all kinds of physical things can happen because your CO2 is elevated. And my question is, has
there been any information from the nursing department at the school that could look at or compare to 2 years ago, the number of visits that had to do with headaches, with stomach aches, with complaints in general, with all of these things that are elevated in the time frame that they have been required to wear a mask. And that, to me, would be scientific information. You can do it, you can prove it, you can do it over again, and you get the same results. There are lots of studies out there that say masks are beneficial. There are lots of studies out there that say that they're harmful. The school could do a retrospective study and a study going forward from the nurse's standpoint saying, okay, we have an increase in these complaints. Can that be related to a mask? I think that it needs to be investigated, and just as a heart for all these kids, all of this that they went through while they had their face smothered behind a mask, not being able to breathe like they should be. Just think what they could have done if they...
It's not very loud, sorry.
Yes, 10
if
seconds.
they had not been masked.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Olive. Next speaker will be Ms. Jane York.
Good evening. I am here tonight because I would like to say how appreciative I am for all the overlooked and undervalued work our district leadership and teachers have given this year in order to give our 19,000 students some semblance of a normal school year. While many school districts around us and across the country firmly closed their doors to in-person learning, you did not. Of course, there were many days when the risk was too high to have schools open safely, but as soon as it was safe, you allowed students back in. You also offered a virtual option, and while it had a lot of problems in the beginning, everybody knows that, you offered it for those who wanted it. I know a lot of people on the district leadership team spent late nights and weekends trying to make that option better. I substituted this year, and I watched teachers in action. Elementary music class with everyone in a mask was not an easy task, but they did it, and the kids loved it. Students in special needs classes were still made to know they were loved. Third graders could tell me where the cleaning spray was and how to stack the chairs because their teacher was doing it every single day. Middle school kids waited patiently by the door while the teacher cleaned every desk between classes. Was that frustrating? Yes. Did it seem unnecessary at times? Yes. Was everyone doing the best they could? Yes. My senior spent many, many school days in my dining room this year, and he might have slept through a class or two on synchronous days, but he was still acutely aware that his teachers were engaged and expectant. Dr. Stobie, Ms. Torres, Dr. Pence, Mr. Bailey, Mr. Landris, and Mr. Cagle were teaching. I could hear them in my dining room. That said, my kid was happy to go back to in-person, mask and all. I asked him, you're good with going back? You're gonna have to wear a mask all day. Yes, he was all in for that. This is my 16th and final year as a parent of a Broken Arrow Public School student. I'm so grateful the decision that we made to move here 18 years ago resulted in such an amazing public school experience for my kids, even during a pandemic. In closing, I want to say thank you for the board's leadership, for Dr. Vincent and her team's commitment to our children, and especially for our classroom teachers and their largely unappreciated job of teaching every day, whether they were at home or at school, while dealing with their own issues during a pandemic. I am confident no one else handled this year better than Broken Arrow Public Schools. And I'm so proud to say that I'm a Broken Arrow parent. Thank you.
Next speaker will be Angela Leiter.
Thank you.
Do you have the clock? Janet?
I've got it right
Okay.
here. Yep.
I'll start this one.
Yeah.
Good evening, Dr. Vincent, members of the board. I'm Angela Leiter, parent of 2 elementary students in Broken Arrow Public Schools, one in 3rd grade, one in 1st. I want to speak to you tonight to ask you why the use of masks is still mandatory for my 3rd grader in her school building. Every day I drop off 2 kids from the same household to the same school. One requires a mask, one does not. Looking at the facts as they now stand, as of last week, the governor declared there's no longer a COVID-related state of emergency here. He came to that decision because the numbers have decreased by over 94%. Also, the city of Broken Arrow has dropped its mask resolution. It never had a mandate. And even the city of Tulsa has allowed their mask ordinance to expire due to the extremely low numbers of cases and hospitalizations in the county and the city. Based on the Oklahoma State Department of Health website, there are only 169 newly reported cases in the entire state of nearly 4 million residents. In fact, the latest executive report lists exactly 1 person is even hospitalized with COVID from the 8 counties surrounding us here, including Wagner County. Even Tulsa County only lists 48 cases for the whole county of over 650 residents. Those are all under the 1.43 per 100,000, the very target rate that you devised last summer. Or in other words, we definitely fall into the green category you set before the district opened last year. It shouldn't matter that there are only 12 days left of the school year. You've publicly stated all teachers and staff have been fully vaccinated. Studies have proven asymptomatic transfer is rare and children are essentially unaffected by this virus. You say it's for the safety of our children. Our solution should not be worse than the virus. Masks cause depression, anxiety, acne, and far worse infections. And for a school setting, masks are detrimental to learning, especially when the students can't see their teacher's mouth or facial expressions. Children do touch their faces all the time. They don't wash their hands very well, and the masks go in the bathroom, the lunchroom, the playground. It's just, I have a 1st grade boy. I know how many times I ask him to wash his hands and not touch his face. It's very clear from the beginning that our governor and the State School Board Association left this up to each individual district. Do you know there are other school districts, public school districts in our state that opened with in-person classes and they have not had outbreaks without a mask requirement? There are many of us that were essential frontline workers that had children in full-time classroom-like settings during the whole 7 months when our schools were closed from March to August, and mine didn't have to wear a mask, not a single day, and no incident. That same center went on daily field trips with these children around Tulsa, and the teachers employed there no longer have a mask requirement. This is located in Broken Arrow. Now is the time to remove the mask requirement. I'm asking you, given the current low case numbers in our city and the state and the fact that our staff are fully vaccinated, the continued mandatory masking of 3rd graders indoors is no longer justified. Please issue guidance to make masking indoors optional. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leiter. Okay, next item will be the approval of the general consent. Do we have any discussion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
That was item 276. Got a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. I'd like to ask the board that we take a 5-minute recess to use the restroom.
Okay.
Okay.
Make, do we need to,
We need to have a motion to recess.
make a motion to take a 5-minute recess?
I'll second that.
Motion second. The meeting is now in recess.
Sorry, Ms. Thornton.
That's okay. Sorry. Nature calls.
Now I know I got one of those in the bank. Cause last meeting about.
I know, man, I tell you. That ain't no lie. There's been a couple times where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, or like, man, we need to get,
No, I didn't plan this well.
yeah. Well, that went well. I thought she spoke well.
I knew they were going to build one at some point, but
I
I
was
didn't know
looking
that
at
it had already.
Oklahoma, I mean, what I was looking at this weekend, I mean, it still showed. Yeah.
Let me find out. I have a meeting coming up with a group that has several new places for kids, and one of them is in Owasso. Yeah. Yes. We are, in our state, we are so lacking in options for kids after graduation. Yeah, I'm so excited about it. It's going to be really cool.
There was something, yeah. I'm not sure what it is, but I know we've addressed it.
I made notes, we'll address all that, but I'll send him our
I
policy
thought
too.
it was an option bill or something.
Oh, and Derek.
It was, I think.
Yeah, that's what I was like, Derek, yeah.
Yeah, I know we've talked about that discussion.
Yeah, but I've got notes.
We were wait. We can wait for 95 minutes here. I'll run to the restroom. We'll let you, okay. I know, I was going to get one, but I'm like, no, I'll wait till executive session. Sneaking out some. He was already having a cheat meal. I don't know if it's a diet if you have cheat meal on day one.
No, he is not a dieter.
I certainly understand. 6 o'clock. The military, yeah, 6 o'clock. And 6 o'clock tomorrow's the academic signing, is that correct?
6 o'clock academic signing, and then I'm going straight from there.
I saw
to
that,
soccer.
4 o'clock. In Bedlam Baseball at 4 tomorrow? Oh, there might be a doubleheader, so. Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, academic signing tomorrow night in soccer, and then Wednesday is the
Okay. Entertain a motion to return to open session.
Make a motion to return to open session.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette? Yes. Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, 77. Ms. Thornton.
No, not yet. At the end. Okay. I'm super excited to get to talk to you tonight about this project. Kim Vento called me recently, and she was like super excited. And she said, Daleen, I have to talk to you. I've got this idea. This group, Clark Youth Theater in Tulsa, had contacted her because they had been using the theater at Cascia Hall. And Cascia Hall wasn't going to let them do that anymore, and they were wanting to use our venue. And she's like, what's in it for us? And so she kind of worked out this arrangement with them where if they could use our Kirkland Theater, then they could work with our students. And so the next thing, I have to put my glasses on to see my notes. She called me, and we, the PAC team, the Fine Arts team, and my team all got together with Clark Youth Theater and their directors, and we came up with a plan that is going to allow our students to participate in the Penguin Project. And if you haven't heard of the Penguin Project, you have to Google it, but we'll look at a video in a second. But it's a
it's a group of folks that they do stage productions, like, and they don't pull back. They do big productions where the actors are students with disabilities. So the students are, the program is nationwide. It was started by a doctor who worked with the students, a pediatrician who worked with students with special needs, and it has just grown over the years. So it's all across the nation, and they can work with students within a 45-mile radius. So they're going to begin working with our students. And every year they put on productions like The Lion King Jr., Seussical, The Little Mermaid, and they do full production. They do stage, you know, work and everything. So there's no restrictions on who can participate. So regardless of their disability, our students can all participate. The way it works, sorry, I'm talking so fast. I'm just all excited about it.
No, it's okay.
So
I'm ready to watch that video. So you got me excited.
Our students will be paired with peer mentors. So they'll work side by side from first rehearsal to production. They learn the lines together, they learn the parts, they have coordinating costumes, and the kids are on stage together. So in the way that we partner kids together for Special Olympics, same kind of deal. And you know, some of the videos, if you look on the website, some of the comments from the peer mentors, it's just really moving. So that how much they were impacted by the opportunity. I interviewed a girl today who is a BA grad who wants to work with some of our severe profound students. That's where her heart is. And the way she got interested in that is through something similar to this. And I just thought of that today when I interviewed her, thinking, you know, it really impacts people's lives for a long time. And so it's just a super exciting opportunity. Scott on the PAC team, he said, we don't just love this project, we are in love with this project. And so that's how we all feel about it. And I'll continue to keep you updated, but if you want to know more, go to penguinproject.org or clarkyouththeater.com. But we're going to try to see this little video. It's just kind of an overview so you can see it. But I just wanted you to know what was going on. We're even talking to one of the folks on the, one of the directors is a professor of theater. And we're talking to her about maybe she could do some adjunct work and get an acting class for our students as an elective. So we're super excited. We think this can really go places. And you know, Kim's always looking for something fun. So all the credit goes to her. But I just want you guys to see this, and thanks for your time.
Now, we're only going to be able to hear from the monitor on my laptop, but
Put that microphone down there.
well, we tried. It doesn't seem to broadcast it, but we have closed captioning, but
That's good enough.
children with special needs to perform theater. We've learned that children with special needs have significant difficulties with communication skills, socialization, and self-esteem, and these are the very things that the Penguin Project helps with. I am a physician who works with children with special needs. That's what I do for a living. And I've been involved in theater since I was in high school. And I watched my children grow as they performed theater, become really very competent young adults, and realize this is a great thing to combine together.
It's amazing. This is a kid, she's pretty quiet. She processes other people's talking pretty slowly, just kind of stays in the background. Since she's been in the Penguin Project, her personality has gotten big, and she's gotten really confident, and it's carried over into school. It's amazing.
Watching these children on stage, smiling, enjoying what they were doing, and interacting with each other. But more importantly, I remember what I saw when I turned around and watched the parents watch their children.
It's an amazing opportunity to watch your children grow, because I think as parents, certainly when Bryce was diagnosed, the thought of him performing in a play never crossed my mind.
One of our main focus is to encourage relationships, friendships. Many of these children have never had friends.
It's just so much fun. You get to sing, you get to dance, you get to meet friends. It's a big family all together. You just have so much fun while you're doing it.
I
they go to school, they're around a lot of other people, so they can't just dance for hours.
Our choreographer cuts these kids no slack. She sets the bar high, she does things, and I look at her and say, what? Do you think they can do that? She says, of course they can. And she's right. You set that bar high. You give them the chance. You provide them with the support, and they will do it.
She has capabilities that I didn't know she had. Just seeing that she can relate to people outside of her family just makes me think she's got more in her future than I thought she did.
We've seen so many children who started out being shy, uncertain, communication skills that were really not well developed. And over the years, they develop more and more confidence. They become successful professionals. We have teachers. We have kids who have really thrived. And on a different level, children who are much more significantly impaired, who are now living alone.
We're not the same, we're different in a good way. That's where we belong.
It lets me see a time where I can drop her off at a job, drop her off with friends, and she's okay without me being right there.
While they're on stage, there is no discipline. And we don't talk about discipline. We talk about upping.
So we're going to be looking for volunteers if any of y'all are
That's awesome.
interested to work with students. Do you have any questions for me?
Well, Miss Thornton, I also know, a little bird told me that when you came to Miss Kim and asked her about this, that you immediately were like, absolutely. So it's that attitude that just provides so many opportunities to our kids, and that's what I love about being here, is that everyone has that attitude that will do whatever it takes to make kids' experiences awesome. Thank you.
Appreciate your
Thanks for
support.
making this project happen. This is such
It's
an
exciting.
exciting opportunity and for such a great, to be able to kind of bring it all together from the PAC, the school, and, with our students and all, I think that is so cool. So this is really neat.
Exciting.
Thank you.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item will be information only from Ms. Bergwall.
Good evening again. President Allen, Dr. Vinson, members of the board. I have for you tonight our capital improvement update of everything that's been going on in the city over the last month, and it's been a busy one. So we'll start with Planning Commission. On April 22nd, they did approve a preliminary plat for the Battle Creek Commercial Center, 4.92 acres, 2 lots, and this is north of the BA Expressway in Albany Street, half a mile east of Aspen. It's in the Arrowhead and Sequoia attendance boundaries, but it's not a residential development. It is a commercial center. Lots of things going on up at Battle Creek area. We talked about some items last month as well, but this is a different one. This is a commercial center, not the Cottages at Battle Creek. It was reviewed at TAC, which is later in the report. Aspen Square Center, which is the approval of a BAL 2119 and 2120, which is a PUD for both properties. It's a 1/8 mile north of Washington and east of Aspen Avenue. This is in the Linwood and Oliver attendance boundaries. Not much was said about this. It's really just a not a residential, retail development. The PAC ESC lot split was approved at the Planning Commission, and that's this lot out here for us. This was our item. We did split that lot from the PAC. It does leave the Infinity Monument in place to be part of this parcel, but it will require us to adjust some of the access off of 81st Street as we sell that property and it develops. And our marquee will need to be rebuilt. We can use the marquee for now, but when we sell that property, that will become the new property owners. And then the Ellis property, they approved a modification to the land subdivision code. This is 2.72 acres. They're changing it from a annexed residential estate to a single family residential. There was a public hearing on this zoning action. This is a 1/4 mile west of county line and a 1/3 mile north of New Orleans. Really what's going on there, as I drove it, they're splitting one lot into 2 residential lots, and it looks like it's going to develop to 2 single-family residences. This is in the Oakcrest and Childers attendance boundaries. The old hitching post. Some of you guys are probably familiar with this property. It is there at 91st and Main, 0.84 acres, and it's always been zoned ag, and it is now being changed to commercial neighborhood, which is more appropriate for what has been on that corner, and they're getting ready to redevelop that. It's in the Oakcrest and Childers attendance boundaries, but again, it's not a residential development. It is a retail development. TAC, I won't mention that. Battle Creek Commercial Center, that was earlier in the Planning Commission. But then on May 4th, TAC, we had the Honey Springs at Battle Creek. See lots of stuff going on at Battle Creek. This was a preliminary plat filed to the city for 182 lots on 75.28 acres, so pretty large development there. It's changing from annexed commercial general, annexed residential duplex, and annexed single-family residential to commercial general, residential duplex, and single-family residential. This is south of 41st Street or Dearborn and east of Aspen Avenue. Yes, this is in our district boundaries, but it's clear up there at the corner. It is the Country Lane and Centennial attendance boundaries. The price point of the houses, they couldn't tell us what that price point was, but they expect the houses to be in excess of 2,000 square feet. The timing is intended to be starting in this calendar year and permitting really starting next year for the first phase of the 78 lots. This is a Capital Homes development, and it should be similar to Aspen Crossing at 131st and Aspen, which was some duplexes and single-family residences down there. If you've driven down there, that's the same developer. We did talk about whether or not those entrances would be gated. Spencer was available at that TAC meeting, so we went through some of those items that we would like to see for serving the kids with our buses and the needs that we have for that. And then just some other notes there that were asked of the utilities. That's what TAC is for the utilities to come together and give feedback on the plats. And this will go to Planning Commission this week on Thursday, May 13th. There was also a conditional final plat filed for Elysian Fields. This is 23.14 acres being developed into 66 lots. They're changing it from agricultural to single-family residential. This is south of Tucson and east of Garnett. This is not in our boundaries, but as you drive around, you may see that, and some people may ask you, that is actually in the Union District. And that's a pretty large development that's going on there as well. All right, City Council, we had 2 meetings for City Council, and I just kind of summarized those here. We swore in some new council members. The last time we all met was the day before the election, and so then at their next meeting, they swore in 2 new council members, and they elected Mayor Deborah Wimpy and elected Vice Mayor Miss Christy Gillespie. They approved an agreement for professional services with BKL Design for the BA Tif infrastructure, which we've all been discussing the TIF with them as they move through that process. They awarded bids for several material items for the Albany street widening, and this is in front of our Vanguard facility. They have also awarded those bids, and that work is actually going to start before school lets out, starting to widen there in front of Vanguard, and they're committed to trying to get that widened and back open before school starts in August, which is a very good thing for us. They also presented the Broken Arrow Transit Study. A lot of people don't realize that the Tulsa Metro buses come and serve Broken Arrow, but Tulsa Metro did that study, and they want to increase the service that they provide to Broken Arrow, including their customized service, which is more like Uber, but it's through Tulsa Metro Transit Authority. So that was kind of an interesting study that they talked about, and it helps open up transportation options for seniors and for kids. They say a lot of kids become more independent because they can utilize that service as well. So that was an interesting study that they presented. And then they changed their August 3rd meeting to August 2nd. They changed it to a Monday night so that they could all participate in the safety night out. And so I thought I'd bring that up in case you guys want to participate in that as well. That's something that the BAPD participates in, National Night Out on Safety. And that will be on August 3rd. Okay, they had a public hearing and approval on annexation of property into the city limits, and this is the 13.4 acres immediately east of our Highland Park Elementary. They did have a public hearing on it. The patrons did express concern over traffic and overcrowding of the schools with that development, and they approved the ordinance along with that. And then approval of a comprehensive plan change for the cottages at Battle Creek, which we talked about in the last board meeting. Again, up in that Battle Creek area, 8.79 acres from a level 6 and to a level 3 residential. And this is north of Albany, east of Aspen. It's in the Arrowhead and Sequoia attendance boundaries. All right, other city items. The Tif Committee meeting. I am on the Tif Committee for the city representing the school district. Of course, all the taxing entities have a representative on that committee. And then that committee had to elect 3 at-large members. We did elect Todd Pendergraph, who is the owner of BA Drug, Greg Graham, who's the president of First National Bank, and Jennifer Conway, who is our president at the Chamber. They are presenting a 25-year TIF that will include business, retail, and residential. They want to take this to a council meeting before the end of the month, and our next committee meeting for the TIF will be this week, May 13th, at 3 o'clock at the Safety Center. So they will meet and give us more information on that TIF this week.
Ms. Burgwell, I think it's important that the board maybe has some discussion about that while we're here in an open session to the TIF, and maybe any concerns or anything to that nature, and maybe ask you questions that you may have, or Dr. Vincent questions as well. So 25 years, do they say why 25 years? It seems like an awful long time for 25 years.
25 years was what they presented. Well, they actually didn't present the information to us since we were just electing the at-large members. And they said that that's what they were presenting for the numbers. But I have not actually reviewed those numbers yet. They did send them to us today in preparation for our meeting on Thursday, but I haven't reviewed them at this time.
So people that may be watching that this is being recorded or shot live, can you explain exactly what the TIF is, what that means to the patrons that and the parents and students, parents, taxpayers of our district, what that means?
I will do my best.
Okay.
Okay, it's tax increment financing, and basically it is a way to spur economic growth in a blighted or underdeveloped area. It is the use of the taxing entities' ad valorem and possibly sales tax revenues to put towards infrastructure to spur economic growth.
Now, what's the location? What's the address? What's the street location for this TIF?
I don't
proposed.
Yeah, it is a 90-acre tract just south of 111th and east of Olive. Doesn't include the hard corner, but there's about a 90-acre tract there. And then there's
111th and Olive, and I'm sorry, I'm old school.
Yeah.
What is Olive?
129th East Avenue. Yeah, so really,
Thank you.
By Tulsa Tech?
Yeah,
Okay.
catty corner from Tulsa Tech, and almost immediately, well, it's immediately west and south of our Aspen Creek properties. And then it's also property, and I want to say it's like almost 40 acres that stretches along the north side of the Creek Turnpike from Aspen towards Elm. 145th East Avenue and 100
Gotcha.
Yeah, 61st.
Now that I got all of them squared.
And so it's done in many areas. They did the same thing at TIF in the Rose District. And what they've shown on the Rose District TIF, I was part of that downtown advisory board after that TIF was put in place. And they used the generation of the ad valorem to increase the ad valorem and the sales tax in that area. And they used those kind of a loan against that to help spur economic growth. And as you can see, if you looked at the Rose District 10 years ago, it's a much different place than it is today. And they can show what the sales tax collections were at the time the TIF was in place and what they are now, and then same with the ad valorem property values. So that is what cities do to help spur economic growth. I know another example of a TIF is the Tulsa Hills area over in Jenks and Highway 75. If you're familiar with that area has vastly changed in the last decade because of the TIFs, and it allows the city to put in infrastructure faster that brings economic growth quicker than what maybe bond sales can do.
What was the terms, or how many years was the Rose District TIF?
I think it's a 25-year TIF.
Rose District is?
I believe so. It's either 20
it was
or
prior
25.
to us.
Is it 15 or 25?
I thought it was 25. I know that The Bass Pro was 25.
Bass Pro was 25, and then the one that they did most recently is the 51 TIF.
Yes.
And I think that's a 15-year TIF, and it expires sooner than.
And that was a little unique too, because I mean, it was a 50-50 kind of a
yes,
really
And-
creative approach to that TIF perspective.
And
which,
and that portion of the TIF also did not involve any residential at all. It was manufacturing spaces, and it was either a 10 or 15-year TIF. We were part of the planning for that, so we were very, very
well, and
familiar with
especially
going in.
when you compare the properties, you know, that 51 highway right there,
There's nothing there.
in that you know, coal pits area and stuff that was really not in a great area and things like that, compared to, I mean, you know, I think 111th to 129th 's pretty prime property, prime area, truly not blighted.
So Michelle, there were two other pieces of land attached to that too, other than the 111th space that stretched across then back up. Can you tell us where those were?
Yeah, and I wish I had those with me. Well, they stretched along the north side of the Creek Turnpike, really from Aspen east, and then there's like a 20-acre parcel that stretches a little bit north there. And so this is what you see cities do when they try to spur economic growth faster than what they can do with bond funds, is really probably the best way to summarize it.
And that's what was expressed to me, is that they had been waiting for 5 years now and not seen any growth in that area. There was some disappointment that the area around Warren Theater didn't develop like they thought it would, and so this is the way of spurring it. And the cost, you know, we'll probably have to work through that, but I know that the city manager had expressed that the reason they're having to do this is because the loan amount for the land and the infrastructure that they're putting in. They're wanting to put in a seed building in the Innovation District, but the cost of that is why they take out the loan and then use all the tax dollars to pay that back. They were hopeful that they could pay it back earlier, but I'm with you, 25 years is a long time.
And with the Innovation District too, this is a way that if they're able to purchase this property, this is a way to control that development in that 90-some acres, because the comprehensive plan, the way it is zoned, really, it could develop all residential, or if the city controls it in an innovation district, it can develop into really manufacturing of high-end, high-income earner jobs, and that portion is all retail and commercial. And then the residential that comes in play is the area along the Creek Turnpike where the Reese's grocery store and the Come and Go is supposed to go.
So this TIF is really two projects. One is Innovation District, which is the future manufacturing and things of that nature.
Yes.
And the other one is a grocery store.
And a Come and Go.
Yes.
And a Come and Go and an apartment complex, is that correct?
Yes. And so, and then also visiting with our attorney today, so the TIF is proposed at 25 years, and then at year 5 they're going to give us 25% of the ad valorem, and then at year 10 I think it's 50%, and year 15 it's 75%, and they'll give that to us in payments, which is not included in our ad valorem calculation because it's part of the project-based finances. And we saw the same thing happen in the Tulsa Hills Shopping Center. Jenks School District, they actually received their project-based capital funding basically through a lump sum of that TIF, and it was part of that project of $700,000. Ours will be, what they're proposing is a percentage of what they're seeing the growth happen in that area. So that helps us pay for those classrooms.
In year 6?
In year 6, that those residential areas would bring to these TIF areas. And then anything that develops residential around these, you know, outlined areas would be part of our ad valorem as normal. But what they're expecting is that those areas would develop quicker than if they don't do this TIF.
Will there be a chance for them to change any of the terms of the TIF at this point?
I believe so. I think that's part of what the committee is meeting about on Thursday, because it'll be the first time the committee will get to give their input. Because again, we met last week or whenever it was, to just elect those at-large members.
So that is part of the process. I know when we were doing the 51, I was part of that committee, and we did some negotiating, especially on the length of the TIF.
And definitely getting that percentage of money at those year intervals definitely makes, I mean, it's still scary at 25 years, a long time, but it definitely makes it at least a little more palatable to consider it. Because, I mean, 25 years, I mean, that to tie future school boards into that position, you know, it's not a quick decision, and I know there's a lot of information to consider, but, you know, I definitely believe in being good stewards and partners with the city, but in the same sense, we're held accountable to the district. We want to make certain that we're staying focused with our core values, and how does that impact it, positive, negative, or whatever. So I think those are all things we have to take into consideration when looking at this. And granted, I know we're not a yay or nay, but I do believe, you know, we can contribute some
What I would
feedback.
say too is I like to see them putting a plan in place where they're trying to control development to be a certain way. You know, it takes my breath away when I visit with Wagner County and we look at just houses everywhere going in.
I know.
No plan for commercial on corners or retails, and I think, boy, I'd hate to live out here amongst all these houses and not have a grocery store or not have a gas station. And, you know, Wagner County is just letting developers develop as long as it meets their comprehensive plan. They're not trying to spur any growth. Their roads are behind and our buses are on those roads. And so I like the little more, the more planned approach. It just is a matter of making sure we're at the table and we're getting items and benefits from that tip.
Well, a simple way of thinking about it that I keep saying is each one of the students that's produced within that TIF area represents a certain amount of money. And I hate to say that because they're kids, but 60%, yeah, 60% of our funding is local, so that's our ad valorem dollars. So for each student that's produced out of that development, then basically we're trying to serve them on 40% of the funding. So that's why it's really, really important to us.
Yeah.
So currently we have 2 TIF districts in Broken Arrow?
That are it may be 3 because I think BAPS Pro may still be active.
Well, we have 3, yeah, I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure.
think Bass Pro was a TIF district. I think the city owned the property, but I don't think it was a TIF district.
I think to get the development going, they may have tipped it.
And but with that development
I don't
up
think
there,
so.
it didn't include residential. And you know, it may not be a TIF because nobody really brings that up, and maybe it's because it's expired.
Yeah, I think it was a flight safety TIF.
City
Which
owns
had
the
connected to the Rose District and then the Creek 51, so this would be the third one, I
They
think.
own that.
Okay.
They own that.
They're just where Bass Pro is,
Right.
but not all the other development
I
around.
don't think that's a TIF district.
Are there any other questions or comments on
Well,
the
for
TIF?
me, I would like to see financial impact to the district.
Yeah, I'm ready to see the numbers for sure.
Yeah, and it just seems, I mean, obviously, we support the economic development within our city. I mean, why would we not? I mean, we want this to be a great place economically, and we want to be able to provide the best emergency services from fire and police and those things, and safety. But I do think we have a due diligence as a board to see what that financial impact is to funding for our students and the 25-year impact of that. And it seems like we're moving awfully fast. In 17 days, they're wanting to pass this thing, and I think we need a very, very clear picture of what that is, if possible, on what we are going to support or whatever position the board desires to take with that.
I agree.
I just think we need very, very clear.
Well, and I would just add that it's kind of a domino effect, because if you know, that's going to equal maybe redistricting. If, you know, we get a lot of students coming from the TIF, and we know how fun that is, and how
we've
popular that
experienced
is with
that
our
way, yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
And so I know that they hear research, and believe me, I live right there. I'm excited about it too.
Yeah, me too.
But, you know, there is going to be an impact on our district. And so I encourage people to educate themselves on that impact, because, again, it will probably end up making us redistrict, which we like to grow, but we need to know really the impact on us.
And we have always said growth is a good problem to have, but redistricting is painful.
It's
and
painful.
along with this TIF, there's already, as you hear me talking, a lot of plats being filed, a lot of houses and rooftops going in, not just west and south and east and north, but all over our district. And so redistricting is going to get more and more tough because we're getting more and more full. And of course, we look at those numbers and keep an eye on those. But the next forecast we're going to say is we need more middle school classrooms, which luckily, we have middle school classrooms on our bond. But yeah, we're building as fast as we can. And it's a challenge to keep up with growth.
Sparkle, would it be appropriate for us to, you just spurred a thought when you were talking about Wagner County, especially where I live and stuff, not having a planning or kind of at least a vision or something out in that area. Is that something that we can inspire or maybe reach out? Is there anyone that we can reach out to, or maybe it's already being done and maybe we can inspire some motivation in that or something,
So we do meet with Rachel, they're the county engineer, and we have been talking lots about roads with her. And after their planning commission meeting last week, I believe it was, it's become very apparent that she needs to be sending us more than just roads, and we're going to be talking about neighborhoods and plats. They actually do have a platting process, which they didn't used to. I think she's brought that, Rachel Cooper has brought that to the table. But even further than that, as we have all these discussions about the TIF and about Wagner County, and you saw Kenny Schwab here tonight, he's a great partner with us. And his idea is we may need to form like a metro area. You've heard of INCOG, Indian National Council of Governments. That's really what they do, is bring the different outlying entities together to communicate and help each other. And he's going to look at whether or not we can form something with Wagner County that basically helps Wagner County control their growth, kind of like the city does, and help them with those approvals and those action items.
Yeah, it's kind of
we're not to that point yet, but having those discussions.
With 3 different, commissioners out there and stuff like that. I mean, it's a fend for yourself kind of approach, and I will advocate for better roads. Mine stinks, by the way.
Yeah, some of them are pretty dangerous. So.
Okay.
I just think it's important that we know the terms that we're supporting and what we're, what that looks like, what the numbers are, so we're able to communicate that with our public.
I agree, and I'm anxious for that meeting on Thursday to dive into the details and hear more what they mean. Because when they send me the spreadsheet, Natalie might understand it more than I do, but I look at it and go, I'm not really sure what this means. So I'm anxious to go through that with them.
So once we have that information, we'll make sure and share it to the board immediately, so you'll have that information in front of you.
Layman's terms for
Yeah.
us.
If I'm explaining it, it will be layman's terms.
Thank you very much.
Same here. All right, so New Orleans Square Committee, this is at 101st and Elm. They've put a committee in place to try to figure out what to do with that intersection and to spur growth and development at that intersection. And the designers presented a couple of design options to the committee last week or the week before. That includes a roundabout for 101st and Elm, a multiple lane roundabout. And it does affect our Freshman Academy property. And so that committee has asked that the school attend their next meeting, which is tomorrow night, and to give them feedback and input on that design idea. And so I'm taking Rosalind with me tomorrow night, and we will be discussing that with them on a traffic standpoint, busing, trains perspective, and our concerns for the school. So we'll see how that goes with that committee. And discuss that design and traffic study with them. All right, on to construction, unless you guys have questions about that. We do have Vanguard, we're trying to finish up. Substantial completion date should be here next week, the 21st. The parking lights and drives are finishing up. We have our elected officials tour scheduled for next week. Senator Haste is going to join us in a couple of weeks. The governor has expressed an interest in coming, and so has our Secretary of Agriculture. We have a meeting set up with her, and so we're starting to tour people through. We're getting really excited about it. The dock is soon to arrive with the grant from Bass Pro, and awesome facility. Can't wait to show it off. I know I say that every month, but it's here. So, and then Oliver Middle School, progress is good. The wall framing is in progress. They're roughing in the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. We've ordered furniture, and so we're working towards opening that in August. Westwood renovation bids, we did, of course, reject those last month. We are working on making the design changes as we've scaled back and tweaked our scope. We still plan to issue that for bid here soon and take it to our June 28th board meeting is our goal. If we do that, we should be able to complete that project by the end of the calendar year, so end of December. Event Center, we're working through schematic design options. It's been a lot of fun. I don't want to say too much because I want to show that to the committee, the end user committee, here in a couple of weeks. We've got a lot of great things that are happening with that project, and can't wait to go through that again with our end users and see where we end up as far as kind of a schematic design floor plan as we move into summer. Any questions?
Ms. Bergwald, in regards to Bass Pro, that was not a TIF area.
Okay.
I was informed of that, so.
Very good.
So everyone has that information.
Thank you. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you. Next, item 79, Dr. Vinson.
Yes, this item is actually an item for us to vote on having graduation at our very own stadium next week. But because this varies from our reentry plan, if you remember, we had graduation last year. We weren't sure if we were going to have it. This year, it's going to be a great event. So this is to get permission from the board to have our graduation for our 2021 graduating seniors.
Questions or
Great idea.
conversation?
I think it's wonderful to be able to have the commencement ceremony out there just like we did last year. That was such a great deal. And this will be neat, having the largest graduating class out there as well.
Yeah,
too.
and the kids voted on it. We let them decide, would you rather do the BOK or would you rather go back to the stadium? Overwhelmingly, they said, let's do the stadium.
Right on.
So,
That's
good.
And I've heard from someone, a little bird told me that the sophomore class was adamant they want to do it in the stadium too. I guess they're getting ahead of themselves. I don't know.
Nice.
Now,
Very
having
cool.
it in the stadium with this large of a class, we have to limit.
We do. We are limiting tickets to 6 tickets per family, which, sometimes that's difficult if you've got a big family, but the beauty is we stream it so you can watch
Yeah.
it from home, pop some popcorn, and be nice and cool.
Yeah.
Did the tickets, I thought the tickets went up today.
2 extras.
Added 2 more today? Okay, we added 2 more, so 8 per family.
All right.
I got a question. How do we address a split house of maybe divorced parents? I've been asked that question, so
Go talk to Ms. Wellborn and see that.
we'll make it happen. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, she's working with families as much as
Awesome.
possible and has done a great job. I don't think anyone has been left out in the cold.
Okay.
So,
Not like leaving them outside the Maybe Center.
yeah, standing at the glass
The fire
now.
department says you can't get in.
Yeah.
We need to take action here.
All right, make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell,
Yes.
This thing.
Ms. Roulette,
Yes.
Mr. Denton,
Yes.
Mr. Allen.
Yes. Sorry.
I think your sleep is on like 30 seconds.
Ollie needs to fix this.
Is Ollie in here? Yeah, there he is. He's hiding.
Try to get this.
Did it go to sleep?
I'm just trying to get through the year.
I think it's that laptop. It's the sleep comes up quick.
Do you want to take a verbal?
Probably a pepcac problem.
I have it verbal.
Okay.
Let's go. We'll keep moving. Next item, Dr. Vinson.
Yes, this item actually is to approve the board granting authority to our someone from our council, which is RFR, to represent the board when we do have discipline hearings or suspension hearings that get to the board level. We have a process by which they go through the building and on up. We haven't had this happen in a really long time, so but this will provide a opportunity for 2 of our council, if one of them isn't available, but one of those 2 would preside over that hearing and make the final decision.
Dr. Vincent, and the district has done this in the past, so it's not like nothing new,
Oh,
right?
yes, it's just been a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, we've done it many times.
Any questions or discussion?
Nope.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Miss Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, Ms. Kearns.
Good evening. I have to say it's not near as much fun being on this side of the agenda as all the heart feeling at the beginning. That was awesome. Tonight I bring to you the non-administrative pay scale for the 2021-22 school year. This scale has not changed, but every person on this pay scale will get a step increase for next year.
Discussion or questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Miss Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, Ms. Kearns.
Item number 82 are our hourly support scales. For the last 4 or 5 years now, we have created a rotational basis that we pull one, sometimes 2 hourly pay scales to invest in to keep up with the cost of living. As you know, our steps are about 1.5%. When you do that every year without pausing to invest a little bit more, we tend to fall behind competitive edge with neighboring districts or behind the cost of living, and we found that a rotational scale has worked well for us. This year, we have an hourly scale that has maintenance employees, warehouse employees, and hourly technology employees that we would like to add $1 to every step, and they would of course get a step as well, but we'd like to invest in that scale. It hasn't been invested in a very long time. It has not been on our rotation in the last 4 years. It's their turn, and before that you'd have to tell me when they were invested in, but I don't believe when we started this process, I believe it had been about 10 years since the hourly support scale had been raised. Also, we're asking that $1 be added to the child nutrition hourly scale. They are self-funded, so that does not affect the general fund. That does come from the child nutrition fund. All other people on the hourly scales will receive their step.
Is that child nutrition included within this, what you're asking us to approve, or is it a separate item?
It's all in one.
Okay.
All the hourly scales are
Okay.
together.
Questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Miss Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, 63.
This item is the 2021-22 administrator pay scale. This scale is unique as it only has 11 steps, so the scale itself is raised 1.5% instead of movement. We did create a system to evaluate a horizontal possible step for administrators every 3 years, with the idea of 11 steps, that if you were with us 33 years, you could potentially move across the entire scale. The last time that we received a horizontal step increase was 2017-18. So this is the year for that to be evaluated, but we're not asking for a horizontal step at this time. At this time, we're just asking for the 1.5% normal increase. And we may come back after evaluation when the budget is in and revisit that with the board. Do you have questions?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Miss Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, 84.
Number 84 is Board Policy 1195. This was brought to you last month as a first read. The final version of this does extend the option of virtual board meetings should you need that option in the future, to be posted in the traditional manner, and we do have this as an action item this month.
This will allow us to have a virtual meeting if needed at
Yes.
any time.
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Miss Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item, 85.
Number 85 tonight is an information-only item. These are 3 different policies. It is the last time that you will get policies this school year, so that's an exciting thing. Number 1250 is a simple title change. Board Policy 6270 deals with the parameters of possibly allowing alcohol served at our rental facilities. Obviously, there's a lot of regulations around that we have incorporated to safeguard the district. And number 6265 is pretty mundane. It's about the use of district vehicles and IRS reporting requirements. I will bring these back to you for final vote in June and allow you the month to review those policies and let us know if you have any questions or concerns.
And just for the record, I mean, on the 6270, the use of the school facilities for the alcohol and stuff like that, that was something that our legal counsel has, they were the ones that we've kind of consulted with on that, correct?
They did write the policy.
Okay, that's,
Yes.
thank you.
No?
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much.
Next item, 86, Mr. Perry.
Good evening. I'm coming you to tonight to ask you to reject the bid for the Options Academy demolition. The bid was non-responsive. We did have 3 bidders come to the pre-bid, but only one submitted a bid, and the bid did not acknowledge the addendums to the project. And pursuant to the competitive bid law, we must reject the bid, and we will work to find some more bidders here coming up soon. And that's that front older portion of the Options Academy that we need to demolish.
Okay. Questions?
Make a motion to reject the bid?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Miss Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Perry.
Thank you.
Next item, 87, Ms. James. Oh, you're fine.
I know it's getting late. Good evening, President Allen, the board, and Dr. Vincent. I would like to put before you guys to discuss and vote to approve or disapprove a new agreement between us and a company known as Defined Learning. Defined Learning has a product that is called Defined Careers. This year marked the end of an agreement that we had previously with Navient. It was a 3-year product. At that point, we created a committee to come together to look at what were some other products that would do the same thing that Navient's did for us, which is 1, provide support for our ICAP, also help support our project, our pathways and pathways, and also our, sorry, it's getting late in the night, portrait of a graduate. We'll get that in a minute. So the committee came together, we reviewed several products, and so we finally ended up going with Oklahoma College Start, which is free through the state of Oklahoma. They've had that in place for a couple of years. It's a really good product. It helps us meet all of our ICAP requirements. At the same time, we reviewed this company and this product called Defined Careers, because Defined Careers will really help us build capacity for our students at the middle school level to understand and be ready to make a choice for their pathway when they get to 9th grade. And also it'll allow them to know which pathway so they can choose and select different internship opportunities that we might have to support that. We save money. This is $3 a license and covers everybody from 5th grade to 12th grade, as opposed to Navient's, which was running us about $20. In addition, this program also is working with us. They really wanted to work with us, and so they have created a dashboard that will house our portrait of a graduate. So that's where students will go in, upload their portrait, upload every piece of the puzzle that will make them either career, life, or college ready, and then that way we can recognize them when they graduate. So.
Okay. Cool. Questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Miss Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. Next item is new business. We have none. Then item 89, move to executive session.
Make a motion to move to executive session?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Miss Roulette?
Yes.
Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes. All right. About 5 minutes. Everybody use the restroom and Yep. We just do it mechanical? Yeah, we can do it. We can just do it by hand. Okay. We will acknowledge that the board has returned to open session by a statement by the board clerk.
The Board of Education, Dr. Janet Benson and Michelle Bergwall entered into executive session at 7:58 p.m. to discuss the purchase and contractual terms of certain real property as authorized by Oklahoma Statute Title 25, Section 307B3. Michelle Bergwall exited executive session at 8:46 p.m. We also discussed superintendent's evaluation as authorized by Oklahoma Statute Title 25, Section 307B1. The Board of Education returned to open session at 9:23 p.m. This constitutes the minutes of executive session.
Okay, next item will be approve or disapprove purchase contractual terms of real estate.
Make a motion to approve?
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette? Yes. Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes, next item will be to adjourn.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second, please call the roll.
Mr. Cockrell?
Yes.
Ms. Roulette? Yes. Mr. Denton?
Yes.
Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't forget Steve.